Welcome to Pastor Andrew's Inspirations. If you enjoy these videos, please click on the red subscribe button below and the bell for more. Welcome to our online church, a congregation made up of many from around the world. No offering is necessary. Subscribing and watching videos will keep us alive under God's watchful eyes. Today we will be talking about Isaiah in the Bible. Isaiah is God's salvation. Jehovah is helper. Salvation is of the Lord. Isaiah means Yahweh is salvation, also known as Isaias with an I, or Esaias, Esaias, from Greek. Was the 8th century BC Israelite prophet, after whom the book of Isaiah is named. The text of the book of Isaiah refers to Isaiah as the prophet. The exact relationship between the book of Isaiah and the actual prophet Isaiah is thorny. The traditional view is that all 66 chapters of the book of Isaiah were written by one man. Isaiah possibly in two periods between 740 and 686 BC, separated by approximately 5,475 days. Another widely held view suggests that parts of the first half of the book, up to chapter 39, came from the historical prophet, scattered with prose comments written in the time of King Josiah, 1,200 months after, and that the remainder of the book dates from immediately before and immediately after the end of the 6th century BC exile in Babylon, almost 2 centuries after the time of the historical prophet, and that perhaps these later chapters represent the work of an ongoing school of prophets who prophesied using his prophecies. The first verse of the book of Isaiah states that Isaiah prophesied during the reigns of Azariah, Jothiah, or Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, the kings of Judah. Azariah's reign was 52 years in the middle of the 8th century BC. Isaiah must have begun his ministry a few years before Azariah's death, around the 740s BC. He may have been contemporary for some years with Manasseh. Isaiah might have prophesied for as long as 64 years. Isaiah's wife was called the prophetess, either because she was endowed with the prophetic gift, like Deborah and Huldah, or simply because she was the wife of the prophet. They had 2 sons. The older, Shear-Jashub, which meant a remnant shall return. The younger, Mahar-Shalal-Hashbaz, which meant quickly to spoils, plunder, speedily. Soon after this, Shalmaneser the fifth determined to subdue the northern kingdom of Israel, taking over and destroying Samaria and beginning the Assyrian captivity. So long as Ahaz reigned, the kingdom of Judah was untouched by the Assyrians. But when Hezekiah gained the throne, he was inspired to rebel against the king of Assyria and entered into an alliance with the king of Egypt. The king of Assyria bullied the king of Judah and at length invaded the land. Sennacherib's campaign in the Levant brought his powerful army into Judah. Hezekiah was reduced to pain and caved into the Assyrians. But after a brief time, war broke out again. Again, Sennacherib led an army into Judah, 470,000 men, of which threatened Jerusalem. Isaiah, on that occasion, inspired Hezekiah to resist the Assyrians. Whereupon Sennacherib sent a threatening letter to Hezekiah, which he spread before the Lord. Then Isaiah, son of Amoz, sent his message to Hezekiah. Thus said God, the God of Israel, to whom you have prayed, concerning King Sennacherib of Assyria. This is the word that God has spoken concerning him. Fair maiden Zion despises you. She mocks at you. Fair Jerusalem shakes her head at you. Whom have you blasphemed and reviled? Against whom made loud your voice, and haughtily raised your eyes? Against the Holy One of Israel. In 2 Kings chapter 19 and 2 Chronicles chapter 32, an angel of God fell on the Assyrian army, and 185,000 of the men were killed in one night. Like Xerxes in Greece, Sennacherib never recovered from the shock of the disaster in Judah. He made no more expeditions against either Judea or Egypt. The remaining years of Hezekiah's reign were peaceful. Isaiah probably lived too close and possibly into the reign of Manasseh. The time and manner of his death are not stated in either the Bible or other primary sources. The Talmud says that he suffered martyrdom by being sawn in two or sawn asunder under orders from Manasseh. The book of Isaiah, along with the book of Jeremiah, is typically in the Hebrew Bible. For its direct portrayal of the wrath of the Lord as presented. In Isaiah chapter 9, verse 19, it states, "Through the wrath of the Lord of hosts is the land darkened, and the people shall be as the fuel of the fire." In Christianity, the ascension of Isaiah, an apocryphal Christian text dated between the end of the 1st century and the beginning of the 3rd, gives a detailed story of Isaiah confronting an evil false prophet. And ending with Isaiah being martyred. None of which is attested in the original biblical account. Gregory of Nyssa, 335 to 395, believed that the prophet Isaiah knew more perfectly than all others the mystery of the religion of the gospel. Jerome 342 to 420 also lauds the prophet Isaiah, saying he was more of an evangelist than a prophet, because he described all of the mysteries of the church of Christ so vividly that you would assume he was not prophesying about the future, but rather was composing a story of past events of specific note and the songs of the suffering servant, which Christians say are a direct prophetic revelation of the nature, purposes, and detail of the death of Jesus Christ. The book of Isaiah is quoted many times by New Testament writers. The Gospel of John says that Isaiah saw Jesus' glory and spoke about him. The Eastern Orthodox Church celebrates Saint Isaiah the prophet, with Saint Christopher on May the 9th. Isaiah is also listed on the page of saints for May the 9th in the Roman martyrology of the Roman Catholic Church. In Islam, Isaiah is not mentioned by name in the Quran or the Hadith, but appears frequently as a prophet in the Muslim sources, such as the Qisas al-Ambli and various tafsirs. Al-Tabari provides the typical accounts for Islamic traditions requiring or regarding Isaiah. He is listed among the prophets in the book of Salawat Dalal al-Khairi. He is further mentioned and accepted as a prophet by other Islamic scholars, such as Ibn Kathir, Abu Ishaq al-Talabi, and al-Kasai, and also modern scholars such as Muhammad Asad and Abdullah Yusuf Ali. According to Muslim scholars, Isaiah prophesied the coming of Jesus and Muhammad, although the claim is disputed by other religious scholars. Isaiah's narrative is Islamic. Literature can be divided into 3 sections. The first establishes Isaiah as a prophet of Judea during the reign of Hezekiah. The second relates Isaiah's actions during the siege of Jerusalem in 597 BC by Sennacherib. And the third warns the nation of coming doom. Paralleling the Hebrew Bible, Islamic tradition states that Hezekiah was king in Jerusalem during Isaiah's time. Hezekiah heard and obeyed Isaiah's advice, but could not quell the storms of Israel. The tradition maintains that Hezekiah was a righteous man and that the storms worsened after him. After the death of the king, Isaiah told the people, and he told the people not to forsake God, and warned Israel to cease from the constant sin and waywardness. Muslim tradition maintains that the unrighteous of Judea, in their anger, sought to kill Isaiah. In a death that resembles that attributed to Isaiah in Lives of the Prophets. Muslim exegesis recounts that Isaiah was martyred by Israelites by being sawn asunder. In the courts of Al-Mamun, the seventh Abbasid Caliph, Ali al-Reed, the great grandson of Muhammad and prominent scholar of his era, was questioned by the exilarch to prove through the Torah that both Jesus and Muhammad were prophets. Among the several proofs, Al-Rida references the book of Isaiah, stating, Isaiah the prophet said in the Torah concerning what you and your companions say, I have seen two riders to which he illuminated earth. One of them was on a donkey, and the other was on a camel. Who is the rider of the donkey? And who is the rider of the camel? The exilarch was unable to answer with certainty. Al-Rida goes on to state that as for the rider of the donkey, he is Jesus, and as for the rider of the camel, he is Muhammad. May Allah bless him and his family. Do you deny that this statement is in the Torah? The rabbi responds, no, I do not deny it. Allusions in Jewish rabbinic literature to Isaiah contain various gross, long works and reasonings that go beyond what is presented in the text of the Bible. According to the ancient rabbis, Isaiah was a descendant of Judah and Tamar. And his father, Amos, was the brother of King Amaziah. While Isaiah says the Midrash was walking up and down in his study, he heard God saying, when shall I send? Then Isaiah said, here am I, send me. Thereupon God said to him, my children are troublesome and sensitive. If you are ready to be insulted and even beaten by them, you may accept my message. If not, you would better remove it. Isaiah accepted the mission and was the most tolerant as well as the most loyal among the prophets, always defending Israel and imploring forgiveness for his sins. When Isaiah said, I dwell in the midst of the people of unclean lips, he was rebuked by God for speaking in such terms of his people. Further accounts state that Isaiah was actually the maternal grandfather of King Manasseh, which would make Queen Consort Hephzibah from 2 Kings chapter 21 verse 1 his daughter, and King Hezekiah his son-in-law. Hephzibah's name, meaning my delight is in her, was used as a symbolic name for Zion. Following its restoration to the favor of Yahweh in Isaiah chapter 62. His death is related in the Talmud that Rabbi Simon ben Azzi found in Jerusalem. An account wherein it was written that King Manasseh killed Isaiah. King Manasseh said to Isaiah, Moses, your master, said, no man may see God and live. But you have said, I saw the Lord seated upon his throne. And went on to point out other issues as between Deuteronomy and Isaiah chapter 40, between Exodus 33 and 2 Kings. Isaiah thought, I know that he will not accept my explanations. Why should I increase his guilt? He then uttered the four-letter Hebrew name for God. A cedar tree opened, and Isaiah disappeared within it. King Manasseh ordered the cedar to be sawn in half, or sawn asunder. And when the saw reached the mouth of Isaiah, he died. Thus was he punished for having said, I dwell in the midst of the people of unclean lips. A somewhat different version of the legend is given in the Jerusalem Talmud. According to that version, Isaiah, fearing God and King Manasseh, hid himself in a cedar tree, and his presence was betrayed by the fringes of his garment. And King Manasseh caused the tree to be sawn in half. A passage of the Targum to Isaiah, quoted by Jalowicz, states that when Isaiah fled from his pursuers and took refuge in the tree, and the tree was sawn in half, the prophet's blood spilled forth. The legend of Isaiah's martyrdom spread to the Arabs and to the Christians. Athanasius, the bishop of Alexandria, 318, wrote, Isaiah was sawn asunder. In February 2018, archaeologist Eliat Mazar announced that she and her team had discovered a small seal impression which reads, belonging to Isaiah the prophet. During the Ophel excavations just south of the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, the tiny bulla was found only 10 feet away from where an intact bulla bearing the inscription belonging to King Hezekiah of Judah was discovered in 2015 by the same team. Although the name Isaiah in the Paleo-Hebrew alphabet is unmistakable, the damage on the bottom part of the seal causes difficulties in confirming the word prophet. There is some doubts whether this seal really belongs to the prophet Isaiah. If you like these videos, please click on the red subscribe button below and the bell for more. Adonai Nisi, the Lord, is our banner. God's blessings be upon us all.